That game. That game is full of puns. And fourth wall breaking. And puns.
I'm looking forward to it.
And hello, this is Thunderbase. How you going?
Boo! Happy Halloween! Calgar here. We are
trying to trick him and make him think we haven't done the intro and then suddenly surprise him.
I win. We are the Inconsolables. How are you going, Mr. Thundermace?
Oh, yeah. No. Smashing out World of Final Fantasy. Been playing, I think I'm up to 25 hours at the moment in, 2 days? I played 5 hours? 5 hours on the first day. And then, so 3 days. First day, 5 hours, and then 20 hours over the next 2 days. So 10 hours each day.
You're a maniac.
I need to do more, because it won't be enough to finish it in time.
Yeah, not with PAX in the way.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, I bought World of Final Fantasy today, so I'll be able to start it tomorrow on the train, I think.
Good.
Yes.
Now I can finally talk to you about it.
Well, yeah, you'll just have to give me a couple of days to make some progress first.
I can't even really talk about it on the podcast because you're here. If you weren't here, I could do whatever I want.
Well, I'm not disappearing on you, jerk.
Yeah.
Well, as much as... Well, I do want to talk quite a bit about horror games and stuff because it's Halloween, but we've got some news, so we should do that stuff first, and then I think we'll talk about horror games.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Let's sweep this news under the rug, get it all out of the way. All that type of stuff.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with a true horror story, in keeping with us recording on Halloween. So, to get myself in the mood for a horror story, I went and watched the No Man's Sky ending.
Oh, okay, so you just finally decided not to finish it and just watch the ending.
Well, I haven't played it in weeks, so I figured I may as well.
About bloody time.
And I want a refund.
It's too late!
There's nothing there. There's no.
Yeah, no, it just throws you in reverse.
It's a true horror story. This a light show and then you crash your ship again. Great.
Yep.
And I mean, I would put a spoiler warning on it, but there's nothing there to spoil. So, like, yeah.
You knew this was happening the day you saw my face when you predicted it right.
Well, I knew that I would go back to the start. I didn't know that there would be nothing there and just a light show. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, this is like really old news. This is just a new revelation for you, so let's move on.
Well, no, it's not. Well, that's the thing is, the reason I brought up No Man's Sky at all is that their Twitter and email address got hacked.
Got hacked?
Yeah, they got hacked. So a tweet went out on I can't remember if it was Hello Games' official account or Sean Murray's one.
No, it was their official account.
But it said No Man's Sky was a mistake. Full stop.
Well, it was.
Harsh. I mean, there is, there is something to be enjoyed there. But then games journalists reached out to them for comment, and then they got a lengthy email back saying, yeah, we under-delivered, we made this mistake, we're not taking it well, or taking the backlash well, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And though they did point out that it came from a different email address than the ones that they've received emails from in the past from Hello Games. So it was already a bit sus. And it turns out that, yeah, their account was hacked. And I believe Sean Murray tweeted out later on, aside from the, are you still hacked, bro? No, we're all good now. Back to work. But he also tweeted, the only mistake was not using two-factor authentication on LinkedIn.
Right.
So that's fun.
I suppose they've got lots of angry people out there that feel ripped off.
He got hacked through LinkedIn.
What's LinkedIn? I'm sorry. What's Link?
LinkedIn is a social network for jobs and industry stuff. Not necessarily just computers. Like any business will kind of have a LinkedIn. I've got a LinkedIn account, and it's like, I'm connected with all my workmates on that and all that kind of stuff.
So I'm assuming it's like Messenger for over networks.
It's not even so much that it's for networking in terms of getting jobs and talking with people in your industry, but it's not it's not even Messenger. It's closer to Facebook, but it is entirely like work oriented. So you've got like your Facebook, which is personal. LinkedIn tries to fill in one that is purely for your professional life. People don't really like it. It does get a lot of like everyone seems to have an account, but whether they get used or not, different story. Anyway, he got hacked through his LinkedIn account because he wasn't using two-factor authentication, which is something that everyone should be using on anything it's an option for. And so and it seems that his Twitter was linked to it. So
okay, so yeah, they got pretty much access to
Twitter and email.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've just been thinking, it probably would have been so bad, if they didn't just, get sponsored by Sony and just become this whole hype thing.
I think
if they would just stay there in little indie developer that was this little indie game and was sold at an indie price, it probably would not have been so bad. But yeah,
that's part of it. I think what happened was they overpromised and underdelivered, and who's to say they might still deliver in the future? They are still actively working on the game and doing content, but I mean, at this point, I can't expect there to be. I can't expect there to be anything more to be gained out of that game other than a soundtrack for me to code to occasionally.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, these guys are pretty much old news. Like
they've become another punching bag for us, really.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's move on because this is just sad now.
Well, I wanted to talk about the hack thing. It is an interesting story. So
no, yeah, but I just don't want to spend too much time on this. It's just sad now. Punching on these guys every week.
Well, it's been a while since we mentioned them, so that's
yeah.
There's a positive. I guess we didn't have to talk to them. I've never talked to them. I'm not sure I'd want to. I'm not sure actually if we could get an interview with them. I think it would be worth doing, but I don't have the hubris to believe we'd get an interview with Hello Games at this point, particularly based on the things I've said about them in prior episodes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
Yeah, well,
let's run away.
Well, going from sadness to sadness, Evolve got cancelled.
Yeah,
I don't know much about it because I didn't play Evolve's first form.
I did play the original game at, I think it actually was PAX. No, EB Expo. The first time it was here in Sydney.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I played it there, and I thought it was a fun game. I loved the idea, but as I do with most games I'm not sure of, I wait for the launch to see how it goes. And then, it didn't turn out that great. The game still looked fun, but it was obvious that it was dying pretty quickly because it was just a multiplayer-only game, and there wasn't a lot of people that were willing to put down the money to commit to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not the only time you've seen a multiplayer-only game with a full price tag. I mean, just look at Overwatch and say no more there. But
there's a big difference between those two.
Well, Evolve had me interested to begin with just conceptually, being that it's, one monster versus 4 hunters and all that kind of thing. It's actually almost like Monster Hunter the FPS, isn't it?
Yeah, no, the concept was really good, but I think just a few balancing problems and the marketing of the two, the multiple season passes
and
the skins just pretty much killed it pretty much at launch. However, I will say I do really like what they try to do at the end for Evolve, where they fixed it all up. They focused the game modes down a little bit like what Overwatch done to make it so matchmaking is easier to find people.
Yeah.
And it went free to play, I believe.
It did. I never played it. I never played it the first time around because the game launched with $100 of DLC. I'm just like, I was interested conceptually. I never got a chance to play it because I saw the queue for it and just like, I'll just wait for launch. And then once I saw that they're trying to take $80 to $90 off me and then immediately pushing more DLC on me, not even like extra content DLC, just some skins and stuff. I'm just like, I can spend my money better in most other places. And then when it went free to play, it was too little too late. I just didn't care. By that point, I was into other games.
Yeah, on my side for DLC, like cosmetic stuff, I'm fine with that at launch. But these were pretty pathetic, if I remember correctly. They were just like the guns turned blue and red. It wasn't too much to it, and you can easily ignore it. Like, the biggest problems I think were the season pass, which you had two separate ones, one for hunters, one for monsters.
Oh, that's dumb.
And yeah, it was a little bit unbalanced. Like, it was pretty much the hunters running around the map trying to find this monster as it would hide until it could get enough power to get to its third transformation, because it could never stand a chance against the hunters until it got to the third form. And then when it got to the third form, it was pretty much it would then slaughter all the hunters.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, when I saw the $100 of DLC and none of it was interesting, it's like, it's a bit much to go for $100 of DLC on launch day. That's all. And then I just didn't.
It's just a bad look. But yeah, I'm just pointing out that I think it's a good game. Conceptually, and I'm pretty sure this second build that they did, where they put it free to play and stuff, is actually well balanced now. So I suppose it's worth a look, because even though they've stopped developing for it, I'm pretty sure they said the servers will still run for a little while. So if you want to go check it out, go check it out.
Yeah, they're not completely killing it. They're running the service, but yeah, not making any more changes after whatever that, when it was, last week. So that's a thing.
Yep. Yeah, no, like I've said everything that I want to say about, what's their name? Total Rock?
I think so.
Pretty sure it's Total Rock.
Yeah. I know that some of the developers were on Left 4 Dead once upon a time, so that's the thing. I mean, they know how to do asymmetrical multiplayer, but at the same time, it just didn't work in this case. I don't know whether it was publisher related or just a lot of bad ideas that they threw in. Or a combination of the two. I mean, yeah. It's funny, we kind of don't really have much happy news this week. Kind of fits Halloween, doesn't it?
We never have happy news. When do we have happy news?
Oh, when the game industry does something right, which is
never.
Rarely. Yeah, rarely, if ever.
The game industry just cares about itself.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, what's next on the agenda?
Nintendo.
Yes?
So, the Switch was announced and all that kind of fun stuff. And it looks really cool. But then Nintendo came out and said, well, it's a little bit of confusion based on Bethesda refusing to confirm whether Skyrim is going to be on the Switch, even though it was shown in the trailer very clearly.
Yeah.
Nintendo then said, do not assume that the video had actual gameplay, it's all conceptual stuff. So, Skyrim may or may not be running on the thing. You know, it was just kind of edited onto the screen in post. I guess they would have probably talked to Bethesda because there'd be legals there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that game is going to the Switch.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Like, I had a feeling, like, I guess it was pretty obvious that it was, like, all the gameplay was put in there post-production. But you would assume everything that you see there would be how it would be running and how it would look.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you show consumers an advertisement for your product, you show the product. Like, it all looked really schmick and swish and all that kind of stuff. But is it going to even, like, it apparently, according to the specs, like, little bits and pieces have been leaking out, even though Nintendo aren't doing any more official stuff until next year. But it's just a case of, it looks like from those leaks the specs should run Skyrim, but there's no guarantee that it's actually going to be on the thing. And Nintendo said, don't assume the Switch video had actual gameplay, or of games that actually exist. In which case, why fucking show us those games? Show us things that do.
Yeah.
I mean, we can pretty safely... I mean, we know that Zelda Breath of the Wild will, because they did announce that. It's the only thing they've announced in terms of titles. we can pretty safely assume there'll be Mario Kart and Mario. But then they go and show this big AAA third-party title in like Skyrim, and it's like, are you releasing it? Bethesda's like, maybe, maybe not. We can't announce anything.
I'm assuming Bethesda at this point is giving itself wiggle room in case it wants to pull out last second, because they've got to obviously have some sort of deal for them allowed to put up footage on their official trailer.
Yeah, otherwise the lawyers would be batting down the doors right now, you know. Yeah, there has to be something, but I mean, again, if they are hedging their bets and thinking of pulling out last second, then it's what happened with the Wii U all over again. Then it's what happened with the Wii U all over again, where it was a case of you've got all this third party support. They then released one game for the console and then ran away from it as far as they could because it just wasn't performing for them. Mass Effect 3 is on the Wii U. The other two games never made it across afterwards.
Yeah, thinking about now, Skyrim, like, who cares if Skyrim really gets on the Switch anyway? If you like Skyrim, you already own it.
Well, yeah.
And if you want the special edition, you're buying it on a more powerful console. You probably already have it on your PC, like, souped up. Or you gotta buy it on your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One if you're really hardcore into it.
Yeah, and let's be honest, from what I understand of the Skyrim Special Edition, you're better off playing the original edition with mods anyway.
The only thing I heard about is it's got the graphical enhancements, but it's still pretty much got all the glitches and pretty much they didn't fix anything really from the original game.
Yeah, I tried to run it on my laptop, and it ran at an unplayable frame rate, but I was able to get to the menu in-game when I was, slowly quitting the game to go in a bout of depression, going, I can't play this at the moment. But they didn't fix the menu for PC. It's still a garbage bin that was designed for consoles and doesn't work properly with a mouse and keyboard. You'd think that's a pretty basic thing. So when I go back and replay Skyrim, I don't think I'm going to be doing it on the special edition. I'm probably going to be doing it on the original edition, putting on all the prettifying mods again, putting on the mod that fixes the UI so that, I can actually use my inventory, and then fighting monsters. It's because all those mods haven't come across. They're not necessarily instantly compatible. The modders have to do some work. So there's no guarantee that I can install Sky UI on the special edition quite yet. Maybe there is. I haven't looked too deeply into it because I was busy playing other things. But it's silly.
This sounds like a HD re-release done with a minimal effort.
Yeah, and Bethesda's worried, but news coming out of Bethesda's been worrying me a bit lately because they've also announced that they're not giving review copies to journalists until the day before launch.
Yeah, see, now here's an interesting topic. They come out saying basically China's sound like the noble heroes going, now that everyone will play it same day, media people aren't special and they won't get it to weeks early. We all get it at the same time and we all enjoy the game at the same time.
Fuck off.
But the real truth is, a lot of people, reviewers are here for us as consumers.
Their job is literally to play the game and tell us whether they think it's good or not. You find reviewers whose tastes align with yours, and then, if they don't like it, you know whether you're likely to like it. If the game doesn't fucking work, for example, they will tell you that the game doesn't fucking work. Look at the shit show that was Batman Arkham City on PC. No review copies were given of that one because Warner Brothers knew it was fucking broken.
Actually, I believe they gave review copies out, but only to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, no reviews of the PC version specifically, because the other versions worked.
Yeah.
So they put their reviews out of the games that worked, and then when it came to PC, and no one could play it because it was a broken pile of crap that seriously I could have done a better job of on my own. And it's just.
Look, it's always a warning sign when a developer goes they don't want a review out before their game is released, because that's just telling that they don't have confidence in their product. Now, Bethesda is using Doom as an example of this system works because they did the same thing with Doom. They only gave out review copies a day before release, and it turned out that game was actually really good. But that's no reason to say that's going to work for all of them because all games are different.
Exactly. I mean, correlation does not imply causation. They're using Doom's success as an excuse to not give copies of games that might not go quite as well to reviewers. And it's like, well, for example, look at Dishonored 2 that's coming out next, right? They're not getting copies of it until the day before it comes out. Now, I have faith in Dishonored 2. I liked Dishonored 1, it had its problems, but Dishonored 2 looks like more of the same, which is exactly what I want from it, really. Now, the thing is, the world they've built in it looks to be huge and with a lot of secrets. That is not going to be conducive to a review copy being given to someone who's going to be writing this thing under a tight deadline, because everyone wants to get those first page clicks. So they're going to be under the gun to make this review, so they'll probably just go the shortest possible path to the ending, and then once the credits are rolling, start writing that review. Which means we're not going to get a decent in-depth view of, side quests, or look at how much random hidden stuff, look at how well this world is built. Look at how much effort they've put into every street, if indeed they go to that effort. It's just going to be rocket along, so it may well, do the game a disservice. Or on the other hand, it may do the game a service because they might have all this shit that's broken, that they don't go and, try.
Reviewers, for a lot of these websites that do this professionally, it's putting a lot of stress on them because, as you just said, they need to get it out as early as possible because that's how they earn their money, by views. And it's pretty much whoever's out first gets the views. They're not supported by any outside source. They get their money via the views.
Yeah.
And another thing, just to add on top of the reviewers, most of these people that are writing out these reviews for these websites, they work another job as well, on top of writing out reviews. So without having that extra time, that's even more stress on them to write out this review in probably one day, or however much time they're allowed. And as I said, they're working a second job.
Yeah, see, we've seen some games, or some websites anyway, with certain games that don't get copies until, day of or whatever, where they're like, oh yeah, sorry, we're not putting up a review until we've had time to do it. And I suspect we're going to see a bit more of that, where they'll put up a review, a non-review on the day of, get the clicks for, hey, it's news about this game, and it's like, we're not giving you a review until I've had a couple of days to play it, because we didn't get the game until now. So it's interesting, and it's shitty. And the problem is, Bethesda have broken the seal on this. Like, they're the first to go ahead and say they're doing this for all their games. You know what that means? Activision and EA are immediately going to jump on that shit, because they take every bad step they can.
Yeah. In the end, this helps only the companies and not the consumers.
Yeah, as if the game industry needed to be more anti-consumer with the pre-order bullshit and broken games and hype culture and No Man's Sky existing and
Yeah, no, I have to agree. Pre-orders are kind of bullshit, especially in this kind of time and age where we're moving more and more to digital distribution, and just pre-ordering just shouldn't be a thing because there's infinite amount of copies. Now, I can understand for some things like hardware and, I guess if you still like buying your physical copies, pre-ordering is fine. And, there's pre-ordering, even some pre-ordering, gifts that some give over, something cosmetic, I think is fine. But, one example, I think, just for World of Final Fantasy, one pre-order is the Sephiroth summon. Now, any hardcore Final Fantasy fan would fucking want that. That's why they put it as a pre-order or day one edition exclusive item, because they know that will jump on that. And I did. They got me. They fucking played me like a fiddle.
Play us like a damn fiddle!
Oh, they knew it exactly, and I hate myself for doing it. But I just went, no, I need Sephiroth. The other
Yeah,
stuff can
see.
go get fucked. This other stuff is just cosmetic. Fuck off. I need Sephiroth, but no, I feel dirty about it because that's the stuff that I complain about.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the same time, it's a few days later, and I picked up the Vita copy today, and there were plenty of Day One editions still sitting there on the shelf. So I was able to do that. I mean, I've gone and pre-ordered other stuff because I was trading in games at EB, and they just give you store credit. So I did a double bad in that I pre-ordered fucking Call of Duty with some of those. But it's like I know I'm getting this game because I'm taking one for the team and playing it this year, and that way I can rant about it in video form. But I pre-ordered that. At least I can take solace in the fact that I am getting a known good COD game with it. But
Right.
yeah, and I mean, I've also pre-ordered Final Fantasy 15 because I really, really wanted that. And I also pre-ordered the Snorlax, the Snorlax, what is it, beanbag. Now
Well, that's
that
completely
is
different.
physically a physical item that is going to run out. I couldn't even get it in the first run. I'm in the second run of them. So, but yeah. But speaking of digital copies running out, funnily enough, that happened on the weekend.
What?
Yeah, Steam ran out of copies of Splinter Cell Blacklist on the weekend.
Wait, how does Steam run out of?
Yeah, I know. It sounds weird, doesn't it? And I'll
I
explain
can
how it
understand.
works.
Sorry, I can understand like when Steam gives out codes to a company that's like to sell or whatever, or like I can understand maybe GOG if they have Steam keys if they ran out or something like that because they buy them off Steam. But Steam is the distribution. They can't run out of their own keys.
They did though. That's the funny thing. Now, here's the explanation for it. They didn't run out of their keys. Now, on the weekend, the Splinter Cell series was on sale, 75% off.
Yeah.
So, Splinter Cell Blacklist was one of those games. Now, I don't give a crap about the Splinter Cell games. I played the first one and hated it, and traded it in for, I don't even remember, Gran Turismo. I think I went from boring to worse. Anyway, so what happened though is that's an Ubisoft game, and on PC, Ubisoft have this system, well, if you could call it that, called Uplay, and it's their own version of Steam, and it's a DRM system where you've got to have a key for that. Now, Steam had game keys for
Okay, I can see how this is happening now.
Yeah, so you buy the game and you get it in Steam because it's unlimited, it generates a key or whatever, but they didn't have keys for the Uplay section. On PC, you can't play the game without it being connected to Uplay. So what's happened is Steam have been selling copies of this game, but they didn't have enough keys and people haven't been able to unlock it from Uplay, and so people have bought the game and been unable to play it. Which is great, because this headline is Steam runs out of keys for a game, keeps selling it anyway.
Oh my god, this is the problem of having so many platforms when, like, EA jumped in with Origin going, look, we can have our own games on our own service and sell it at our own prices. And then Ubisoft came and like, look, we've got our own little system too. I don't even have that, I don't think. I don't know. And then Windows come in. We got Windows Store. Buy our games here. I bought a movie on Windows Store once. I can't even download it.
Yeah, I tried to download the free version of Killer Instinct. Yeah, off the Windows Store, and it wouldn't download even the first 10 megabytes. And I was like, okay, well, you had your chance to impress me with this, with the 2-character version or whatever, and it doesn't even download. So goodbye. Cancelled the download and went and played something else. Killer Instinct had its chance. I played it at a friend's place who's got the pack thing, and I wasn't impressed. So
I managed to actually download that off the Windows Store somehow, but
it worked.
It ran super fast speed because my computer was too powerful.
That sounds like a 1990s problem. Like the first version of Warcraft 2 does that.
Yeah, look. I don't remember the reason, but I have heard a few modern games that do this. When if you unlock it from its frame rate, like it's supposed to be at, it will run in super speed.
Yeah, no, that's I can actually tell you why that works because I've written code that does the same thing, and
Yeah.
it is a frame rate thing. It's if you are doing all your game updates based on how many frames have passed, rather than how much time has passed, then your game's going to process super quickly. So if you've got a game that's frame rate locked to 30 frames a second and you are processing enough data for that to be perfect, then that's going to run fine. If you suddenly start running that game at 60 frames a second, but your game is built to do, you know, to update 30 times per second rather than 60, it'll do those updates twice as fast and you'll be running the game in fast forward. Now that is a case of bad development rather than a case of a case against unlocking your frame rates. Unlock your fucking frame rates, developers, and there's a thing called delta time. So every time it renders a frame, you can find out how much time has passed, and that's what you should be basing your physics and graphics updates on, not how many frames have passed. Thing is, back in the 90s, no one had come up with that yet, nor ran on frame rate, and none of the computers were powerful enough for it to matter. So when you run some of those older games on newer machines without fixes for it, it runs in super fast forward, like the original version of Warcraft 2. The Battle.net edition fixes that because Blizzard are on top of that shit. But you see some new games that get frame rate unlocks, and they're still basing their code on frame rate rather than time, and it's just ugh. And this is Calgar's Tech Corner for the week.
Yeah, so but back to the main topic. So yeah, it just sounds like Steam was having their things working as intended, but for some reason it's not generating Ubisoft's code at the same time, like it should be.
Well, that's the thing. Steam can't generate Ubisoft's code. They get the keys from Ubisoft. They ran out of those keys. Ubisoft haven't given them more.
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. I assume in this situation, like if they're selling a thing, they'll have something so that it would automatically generate a key for the Ubisoft side when they sell it on Steam. But I don't know. I suppose they decide to do it the hard way, where they have to actually buy more and actually keep stock up, which I guess would be really hard.
I don't think they're really buying the keys. Like Ubisoft will generate the keys and send them to the Steam users when the code's put in, but they haven't generated enough, and they don't have an automated system to generate them on the fly. And I don't know what it is, why they've done it that way, but they've done it that way. And if you bought the game too late, you don't have a Uplay key, and therefore you can't play the game. Uplay is awful anyway. I do have it because if I wanted to play Far Cry, I need it. If I wanted to play, there was a game an indie game that Ubisoft published a while back that I bought. I can't remember what it was called, but it was kind of like a god game, and you were leading tribes of people to places.
The only god game I can think of.
From Dust. That's it. From Dust.
Yep.
Awful. Doesn't control very well. It's good conceptually, and I could see how it could be fun, but on PC it doesn't control very well. So I think that was a PC to console port that wasn't done very well. I mean, the other way around, console to PC port that wasn't done very well, which is, what Ubisoft does. You've seen Assassin's Creed people falling through the floor and no faces and stuff. I mean, Ubisoft can't get their shit together as far as PC is concerned anyway. Rawr!
Rawr! Angry rats! Calgar mad!
We have so much rage just this week. It's great.
Would you say we're... I don't know.
Inconsolable?
No. I don't know, the puns. The puns.
Oh, are you going to punish me for that?
They're unpunishable? I don't know, that doesn't work. I suck at puns. Anyway.
I've run out of news with the Oh no, I haven't run out of news. There is one more kind of ragey one, but I don't know the details beyond it other than the one-liner.
I've got two pieces of news that I just thought of now, so if you want to jump on my back and we'll go for a ride.
Carry me. Carry me.
Like all those multiplayer games.
Oh, fuck you.
Anyway, Microsoft has announced their own virtual reality headset.
Oh, right, I saw that. Do we care?
It's a new headset that will be coming to the market, so yes, we should care. They didn't actually show anything running, like any games running on it. They say it will be running on Windows 10. So I'm waiting for them to tell me that it'll be exclusive to Windows 10 games.
Yeah, so if it is exclusive to Windows 10 games, then I won't care about it until
And
hackers fix it.
It'll be announced dead on arrival if it's
Yeah.
Windows 10 games only.
Yeah, because what's that? Gears of War 4, Killer Instinct, Quantum Break, which is now on Steam, so it doesn't matter anymore.
They showed off basically the only thing they showed off is a guy put on a headset, and then you saw a video that was obviously made, like, it had nothing to do with what he was actually seeing. It was obviously made for the presentation.
Okay.
And basically the whole idea was, look at me, I can interact with my windows in this 3D space. Look, I can open up Creative Studios. It's like, no.
Okay.
I have a start menu and a mouse click that makes this a lot easier. I don't want to sit here in VR doing it this way.
Yeah, see,
if you haven't played Fable 3, imagine it's basically that. Like, Fable 3 got rid of all the menus and made it so you had to walk to everything.
Oh, so forget that.
So it took, instead of having like 1 second move a mouse and click on something, you had to walk over there, which took extra time.
So what you're saying is Microsoft are taking a cue from Peter Molyneux, the worst person to take cues from.
Look, it's a novel idea, it's a gimmick, but that's not what we want. We want freaking games on it. But the other thing, which is interesting, okay, first thing I'm going to point out is its sensors are built into its headset. So the Oculus Rift has a sensor that's on the outside.
Yeah.
The PSVR uses its camera.
Yeah.
The Vive uses sensors that you drill around your room. Like, you literally drill
right.
walls.
Yeah. Like setting up a 5.1 stereo surround or some shit.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This Windows headset uses sensors built into the headset itself to do movement.
Okay,
So that's good.
Is there any word on how accurate that is?
No, not yet.
Okay.
And the other thing they've announced is the price point of $299 American.
Okay, so what's that? $350 or something here?
Yeah, it
plus
would be
shipping.
Before shipping, if it got sold here in Australia, it would be the cheapest headset, which makes me wonder what's the quality of the headset then, because I would consider the PSVR the minimal standard of virtual reality experience.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to wait and see, wouldn't we?
Now, it's quite possible that they've managed to get some technology and make it cheaper and actually make a good VR experience. But I'm not going to hold my hopes up.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going on there. I was going to say a little bit earlier, though, there are applications for just being in VR with multiple screens and stuff. You can actually do a lot of work in using a VR headset in the terms of getting much more screen real estate, which would be useful for creative things where you need to flip between multiple programs.
Yeah, but this is essentially dropping you in a house and asking you to walk over to a wall just to open up Creative Studios. And then you have to turn around and walk to the opposite wall behind you to maybe open up another program.
How do you interact with Creative Studio in this case, then?
I'm going to assume once you actually open it up, and then it opens up. They didn't show anything. That's all that they basically showed was this pre-made video pretending like this is what the guy is seeing on stage. Of him being in this virtual space where he can turn around and interact with the menus, like he's in a house. Like, it's literally rendered in
garbage,
a house.
It sounds like garbage.
Yeah. Like I said, it's actually been done before. There's been programs that done this without virtual reality, where you can actually walk around and open up your menus in this like type of maze or like house situation. But it's just it's a gimmick. It's probably not. It's novel at first, but after a while, people go. It's just a lot easier just to click on these menus.
Yeah, see, if you have the option to click on this stuff and does have a lot of screen space where you just turn your head for it, then, I'm in for that, because I can have 5 or 6 windows open and I don't need to keep alt-tabbing between stuff. When I'm at work, I couldn't imagine going back to having one screen, because I've got my code on one screen, I've got Google open on the other one, I need to look up documentation. So, I get a lot of work done by having a second screen. It just speeds things up so much more. And, having a third, might be a bit overkill depending on what you're trying to do. But, VR kind of removes the need to have more than one physical screen if you're using it like that. But if they want you to actually walk an avatar to places to do stuff, then that can just get fucked.
Yeah, so at the moment, nothing too interesting came out about it, just that it's got sensors inside the headset itself. It looks like a PSVR. That's what it's designed after, the PSVR.
Oh, okay then.
It pretty much looks like a PSVR.
Huh.
Exactly.
Okay.
And yeah, its price point is the cheapest VR headset currently, but there is no specs that I know of at this time, so I don't know if it's actually any better or any worse or equally good as the PSVR, as I'm setting as the minimal standard.
Well, I guess we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Now, since I'm still talking about this Microsoft conference, because that's what it was, a conference, they also announced a streaming service. Now, the main reason why I'm talking about this is because they have something so stupid it's funny.
What?
So it's pretty much Beam. They're calling it Beam. It pretty much looks like Twitch. You have your
Beam?
chat in the Beam. BEAM. Beam.
So, like Mr. Bean, or Beam as in beam me up, Scotty?
Beam me up.
Okay.
Beam.
I'm with you now.
Anyway, so pretty much it looks like Twitch. Yippee! You can open up straight from Windows. However, for some reason they decide that a good feature would be to have buttons that the audience can press, and then the game screams at you that button that they pressed.
Why?
So for example, they're playing a driving game. They have a button that goes. They have literally there's a button that has hurry up. So they press it, it goes hurry up.
Why?
And there's one that's like take the shortcut, go faster.
Why?
It's like pay attention to chat. They had one that says pay attention to chat, and yeah, it's literally they press the button and the game will go, hey, do this.
Oh, that's such a bad idea.
Yeah,
I
so
think you know what we're making. That is so much a better why is this a thing than what I have this week. That is now this week's why is this a thing. I will go with my my aforementioned story with it anyway. But this is our why is this a thing for the week.
Seriously, that's such a bad idea. Like from what I saw in the video, it has a 30-second timer on these things, but that's the last thing streamers want as they're playing this game. Is their audience have the power to be able to scream at them and spam buttons.
Yeah, I mean, why do you think there's the option to just straight up turn off chat? It's like it's full of. This is the internet we're talking. This is going back to like the YouTube Heroes thing, where you're asking the internet to police itself. You're asking the internet not to harass some poor bugger who's using this Beam thing. It's like, it's almost like you have the entire internet worth of Navi just hitting buttons, going, "Hey, listen! Hey, listen!
Hey,
listen! Pay attention to me! Hey!" That's so bad.
What streamers want is more mod tools, some more moderation for that chat, because that chat can be just dirty at times.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, it's just, no, we don't want them to have the ability to hit a button and scream at us. No.
So yeah, that's something that Microsoft announced.
That, even though I've totally given up on streaming after the other night, that still makes me really angry. Actually, it's just that's awful. It's a bad idea.
Like, one of the probably the beneficial things they've said about that stream service is pretty much like how on my PlayStation Network, I've been doing a lot of streaming lately, and it's essentially just choose the setting and it goes. Unlike open broadcast OBS.
Yeah. The open broadcast cast.
Anyway,
software.
Where like any software like that, where you have to sit there and actually tweak a lot of settings to try to get it right. And even then, like if you're on our internet service, like here in Australia, like we're not on NBN or anything, that's our best service in Australia because it's only available in certain areas.
And it's still shit.
Yeah, we're on the best that we can actually get in our area. And yeah, it's not good enough for streaming at all.
Yeah, we found that out the hard way.
Yeah, somehow like the PlayStation Network for me has been working at a okay quality for me. It's not the best, but it works for me. I can work with it.
Yeah, when I tried to stream Metal Gear Rising after Bloodborne didn't work for us, it was just when I went back, it was mostly unwatchable.
Well, that was on
So
the PC.
yeah, exactly. I was
Unfortunately,
using OBS, which is the other weird one with that though. That was kind of fun. Konami content claimed us.
oh yeah, that's funny. We should just you should just delete that video anyway. Like you put it on private.
It's already private. It's sitting there so I can go back and like see if I can figure out what bits worked and what bits didn't. So I'm keeping it for a reason, but no one can actually watch it. So Konami aren't going to make any money.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I couldn't help but laugh when I saw that. It was like, your content claimed a video with like 11 views that no one can actually watch after no one can actually watch it anymore. So, yep, enjoy that. No money.
Yeah, that was a fun night trying to work out all the kinks in that stream.
Yeah, my solution is pre-recorded video and put it on YouTube. Lets me fix things better anyway. But yeah, no, this beam thing seems like well, it might have the one button advantage, but that doesn't outweigh the audience being able to scream at me through a button press.
Yeah, that's just hilarious and bad.
Yeah, just no.
Ew! Why would you do that?
Yeah, we are going over time-ish again if we're going to talk about games, so let's absolutely rock it through the other news stories we had. Shall we?
Okay, I'll just rock it through this one little piece of news
Yep.
that I remember reading about. Obviously, Final Fantasy 15 went gold, which basically means that it's finished. They're no longer working on it. It's ready for production.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're not working on it. It means it's on the disc, and they might be working on day one patches and updates and stuff like that, but the version that's on the disc has been sent off to be put on discs.
Yeah, well, anyway, that's not the thing I really want to announce. The thing I want to announce was DLC. And some of its DLC is a multiplayer pack. Like,
how?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but from what I read up, it's allowing other people that I'm assuming own the game can jump in and play as the other characters.
Well, we're going to have to explore that when that's out. I'm pretty sure we're both getting it, right?
Yeah, I'll definitely explore that. And the Japanese voice acting is DLC.
That's fine. I want to hear it in English anyway.
Yeah, I do too.
There are plenty of people who are glad that it's a thing, though. So
yeah, but I suppose the question is like, should this all be DLC or not?
Well, it might be. Well, who knows? It might be the other way around in Japan. Maybe the English is DLC for them.
Yeah. When I think about it, perhaps like this game is massive, so I guess it's all right for them to have this extra part, like extra stuff, probably done on the side.
Well, how much are they charging for it? Do we know that?
No, I don't know.
Okay, because it might well be a free DLC pack. They just didn't want to try and shove that onto the disc or something. I don't know, but it could be.
True enough. But anyway, that's some things that the Final Fantasy 15 apparently is getting, is multiplayer, which I'm actually alright with. Like, I wouldn't mind playing through the whole game with Natoli, maybe. But we'll be playing it. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that anyway.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Voice acting, I know a lot of people that would prefer the Japanese voice actors over the English.
Yeah, fair enough.
But English has been getting better over the years anyway. Like, back in the day, like, the English voice actors just didn't care, but now they do.
Yeah, but even then, there are some anime which I've seen, and here's the inner weeb coming out, I guess, but here's some anime I've seen where the English version is better. I mean, specifically look at Hellsing and Black Lagoon. Those are far better in English than they are in Japanese.
But that's everything I have to say about Final Fantasy 15. Until we get it. So.
Well, they released a new trailer once it went gold, and that was pretty cool, actually. It didn't show much that's in the game. It was just sort of like things that could have happened. So
that was awesome, but at the same time, I was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
I think that was the point, though. I mean, it's called Omen. It's supposed to be a dream sequence or something. So
yeah, no, definitely a dream sequence. Anyway, so what do you have? I think you had one more thing.
A one-liner, and I'm going to keep it a one-liner because I don't know any details on it other than what happened. Tokyo Comic Con banned male-to-female crossplay, so they weren't allowing men to dress as female characters at their convention. Women were still allowed to dress as men, so there's no way to see this as anything other than sexist. And then a couple of days later, they unbanned it. So I guess they got an outcry and redacted that. That's all I have for that.
Yeah, it's obvious that the internet exploded over this, and they went, "Oops!"
Yeah. Oops! Quick,
Like,
go backwards. Go backwards.
it was really a stupid idea to begin with. Really.
Yep. Now, very quickly, what the original "Why is this a thing" was going to be, until Beam existed.
Why is this a thing? Question mark. Other one.
Alternative.
Alternative. Why is this a thing? Alternative.
So Facebook keeps advertising me mobile games because, of course, it does. It probably does it to everybody. So there was
Right.
one called WWE Champions, and I looked at that and gone, I don't mind a bit of wrestling, and John Cena's on the cover, so I'll get it because, I love the John Cena meme as much as anybody else does.
This is John Cena.
No.
Copyright. No.
Well, yeah, anyway,
So, yeah.
so I grabbed it and started playing it, and basically what it is, it's a wrestling game, as you would expect from a WWE game, except you're playing Bejeweled or Candy Crush to do your wrestling attacks. So, I mean, that's fine. I've seen plenty of games which, use the match 3 puzzles
Yeah.
for combat and stuff like that. Now, why is
Okay.
this a thing? Because
Yeah.
the 3D models and animations are so bad, it looks like an intern's done them, and I can't believe it's a official piece of software. Like, there's this. I've taken a bunch of screenshots, and we might make one of them the thumbnail for the episode. But there's one
No
with.
promises.
Well, I said maybe. There's one where just John Cena, raised his arms in victory because he's won, and his face just looks mangled. Like it's sits squarely in Uncanny Valley. It's just a case of everything in this game looks a little bit off because they didn't go for hyper realistic, or actually they went for hyper realistic without the ability to do it because the phone probably couldn't handle it, or the ability to do it artistically either, and everything just looks a little bit mangled and everyone looks overly meaty. I mean, they're meatheads anyway, but more beefy than they do. And even The Rock just looks permanently confused.
Yeah, okay, well, I have not seen this game at all, so I don't know, I can't judge, I can't do anything about this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have much else for Why Is This a Thing this week. It's kind of a weak one, but The Rock looks permanently confused in this game. He wonders as much as I do, why is this a thing?
I could imagine this would have been better if they did it like... What was that Street Fighter one where it was, I think,
Puzzle Fighter.
Yeah,
It
like that,
it
with
wasn't
a cartoon art style.
Yeah, if they'd done that, it would have worked. They went for maybe not hyper realistic, but they went for like the realism level of the WWE actual wrestling games without
PlayStation 1 games.
well, there's still new ones, dude. Like there's one PC this year, but they went for that, but without the ability to get there. So it just everyone looks mangled and confused. And they have one facial expression, and The Rock's one is actual confusion. It's weird, and I look at it and I just can't help but laugh. It's pretty great. And no, it's actually not great. It's not a good game. And it's trying to shove microtransactions at you as most free mobile games are. But the other thing is it's fucking relentless with its notifications. It's like, oh, John Cena has all his health back. And now The Rock has all his health back. Like, I went to bed, I woke up in the morning with 9 notifications from this game.
Is that all? 9?
Over one single night, the day after I got it. This is ridiculous. Yeah, I'm deleting that shit.
Alright, so, you're done punching on WWE.
I'm done punching on lots of things. There's been so much rage this episode.
Alright, so what have you been playing this week?
Well, this week has been a lot of Civ, actually. But this...
What about that cooking one? I saw you play cooking one before.
Battle Chef Brigade. Now, that was a lot of fun. It sounds weird. It is a little bit. It's a game I backed on Kickstarter a while back. It's got a beautiful hand-drawn, animated art style. And basically, it's Iron Chef, the game. In a fantasy world.
I actually look at it and it reminds me a lot of Food Wars.
Maybe. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Food Wars, actually.
Yeah,
on the Twitters.
You got usually the like it's a battle with like making a dish, and you got someone judging it at the end of the like time frame. The only difference is, which funny enough, Food Wars does do this at one point where they have to run out and get their own ingredients, which means like actually killing chickens and stuff. But in this game, you're running out and killing monsters.
Yeah, that's where the Battle Chef part of this comes in. So it's, I mean, as I said, it is Iron Chef style in that you are cooking with a specific ingredient and the judges tell you what they particularly like, so you want to get these specific elements. But you've got to run out and fight monsters with magic and weaponry. This is a fantasy setting, so you actually are using magic to cook and stuff too. You actually set your stove alight with fire magic. It's pretty cool. And so you run out, you'll fight monsters, and they're different monsters. You fight bulls and things. There is a dragon you have to fight if you want to get dragon meat, so that's fun. And you just belt the crap out of a bunch of monsters, pick up stuff. There's a limit to how much you can pick up at once. Go back, drop it in the pantry, go back and get more stuff. And then when you're actually cooking it, you're playing a Tetris-esque game. Well, it's not quite Tetris, but it's different depending on the style you're cooking, but you've got different gems for each element of the flavor. So you've got fire, earth, and water, and each judge prefers a different element. And as you match 3 of those gems and let them sit there for a bit, they'll level up and combine into one of the next level of the same element. And I think they cap out at 3. So your dish will be dominated by whichever one you have the most points, the most levels worth of in your dish. At the same time, you get score in your dish based on all the matches and the levels and the different flavors you've got in there, and it kind of generates what you've cooked based on what the ingredients you've thrown in and what mixes you've done and how you've cooked it. And the thing is, you swap where these different gems and element balls are based on what style of cooking you're doing. So if you're frying, you just can scroll things up or up, down, or left, right. You just pick a row or column and shift it by row or column. Meanwhile, if you are boiling it, you actually rotate 4 gems left or right, so they actually spin around. If you're baking, they flip. So it's completely different styles of puzzle based on whether you're baking, frying, etc., etc. And so that adds a bit more diversity to it. Now, the game felt quite easy in terms of beating other players, but reading their dev blog, this is the Kickstarter backer demo. It's not out yet. I got access by backing it. So they made it purposely easy so that people can see how the game is and, they can figure out things. For example, you should not be able to fight the dragon so easily so early on. So, you can very easily find it, but, in terms of beating it in combat, I didn't take a single hit from it. So it's kind of, it will be tougher once the game comes out. I'm going to do a video on it this week because I had so much fun with it, and it's a bit oddball, so it's quite cool. I am in so much love with this game.
The question I have is, can you choose characters, or are you stuck with the one?
In the campaign, you're stuck with the one as far as I understand. At least the demo had it that way. You're playing as Mina. But when you go into the quick play mode, which I unlocked after playing their demo campaign, I was able to play as Mina, which is the young girl you play in the campaign. She's like a wind mage from a little backwater town. And you can also play as Thrash, who's an orc. So you do have multiple characters you can play as when you're not in the campaign. I don't know what their plan is for the full version because I purposely avoided reading developer updates because I wanted to be surprised. And then the demo came out and I'm like, well, I can play it now, so I will. And I was surprised. So, also, I have backed so many Kickstarter things that my eyes kind of glaze over when I see a Kickstarter email come in that doesn't need information from me or doesn't say, here, have something.
Right.
So because I've just got so many, and all the ones that were completed from the last couple of years, they're still sending me the occasional update as well. So it's every morning I'll get into my email and there's 8 new emails from Kickstarter. It's like, oh, what have I done to myself?
Okay, so just to go over, it's drawn in the anime style.
Yep.
Its battle system is a 2D side scroller beat 'em up with some fantasy powers. So from what I saw, your main character, the wind mage girl, wherever she was, she could shoot tornadoes out using her dual blades. And I even saw a guy with a skeleton hand.
He was cool. He's a necromancer.
And when you're cooking, it turns into a puzzle game.
Yes. That's pretty much the amount of it. As I said, I will have a video up this week on it, so look forward to that. It's actually really freaking cool.
Right.
But yeah, what I wanted to talk about a little bit more was horror games in general, because it's Halloween, we should do that. We've already hit the hour mark, I think, but we can talk about horror games for a bit, don't you think?
Sure, I'll be honest, I haven't really played any horror games this week. I've been playing nothing but Final Fantasy.
That's fine. I wanted to talk about them on a more general term. I mean, I did play 2 this month specifically to talk about on this episode. One of them I played for an hour, decided it was bollocks and gave up, and the other
Yep.
one I played to completion. So let's start with the one that I gave up on pretty quickly, and it's so upsetting that I gave up on this one because I just didn't enjoy it. But the reason I bought it is that it had narration by Sean Bean.
Oh, okay, so does he die?
We'll get to that in a moment. So the game's called Kholat, Kholat.
I don't like how you didn't answer me. It sounds like he does die, and that's good. If he doesn't die, though...
Kind of.
If he doesn't die, it's easy to just mute him. And pretend he died.
He starts dead.
Oh.
Yeah, as I said, kind of. So what it is it's based on a true story in I think it was in Russia or that region of the world. There's a mountain range, and there were a bunch of students who went hiking in this mountain range, and mysterious disappearances.
They died.
And yeah, they died. And you know, when they were found later on, it was as if they were running horrified from something, and autopsies revealed strange circumstances of death and all that kind of stuff. So it's sort of like, you know, unexplained deaths, and they've made this game based off it. And I'm like, okay, this is a cool setting for a game, and it's narrated by Sean Bean, so that'll be interesting because, you know, I do enjoy his work, even though he dies almost all the time.
I do enjoy his voice.
Yes.
It's sexual.
Really?
I don't know. I was trying to find something funny and I lost
He
it.
does good work. I mean, he's not the first game he's voiced. I mean, obviously Civilization 6, so that's much more recent. But I also found out he was in Oblivion. So yeah, that's a thing. He was in Oblivion too. But going back there, the problem is once you get past the first sequence, which first impressions count for a lot, particularly in a horror game.
Yep.
And once you get in past like the prologue bit of talking where where it's just cutscenes, still images and stuff talking about the mysterious disappearances, you're dropped off a train in a snowy region, and you've got some haunting music, and you get to walk around. Eventually you find your way through a cave. You go down there. You fall through the floor, end up in another snowy area in a full-on blizzard, and you can barely see anything. Wander around a bit, and you find a campfire, like a little tent and a campfire. At that point, you get some more narration from a Mr. Sean Bean, and then Chapter 2 begins, which is where the actual game begins. Problem is, at that point, the game decided to crash on me. So, no, I did go back. I went back. That's not when I gave up. I gave up about half an hour after that. When I went back, it failed at the autosave point, so I had to walk through the first section all over again.
No, okay, yeah, that kind of kills the mood.
Well, on top of that killing the mood, when I fell into the blizzard section, where it is you can't see a foot in front of you, like imagine Silent Hill fog, but far thicker.
Right,
I got lost. I didn't find the campfire thing, and you would expect in a situation like this, for game friendliness, that you just let the player flounder for a little bit, and then have the campfire thing show up no matter which way they walked, right?
Okay.
It didn't. I was stuck there for a solid 10 minutes, wandering in random directions, going, where the hell is this campfire? Like, this is like... And there's no real hints on the ground. I mean, you can tell on the ground that, like, if you look face directly down, you do see some footprints and stuff, but that doesn't necessarily lead you to where the campfire is, and you do see that the ground is different in different places. But there's no hints as to where to go, there's no arrows, nothing tells you where to go. So I spent 10 minutes wandering blindly, and I almost gave up when I'd found the damn thing again. This time, thankfully, I made it through the loading sequence.
Okay.
And so you're given a map, you're given some coordinates, and you're like, yep, find your way to these and try to piece together the mystery. Like, okay. So I start wandering in a direction. Thing is, your map doesn't show where you are. It is more of a traditional map. You hold it up, you're looking at a map. You have a compass. You have to try and figure out where on the map you are and where on the map you're trying to go to. The only thing you get is by mousing over the map, it tells you what coordinates you've moused over. So, you know, much more survival game than horror game, right? I finally started to find my way in a certain thing, and then a weird sort of orange spectre appeared, right? Not scary at all, because it appeared in front of me, And then, and also it's not particularly dark. Like, it's dark, but it's kind of well lit. So it's not doing the standard horror stuff. I ran for a bit because the thing started chasing me, and then it caught me, and I just fell over dead. At which point it spawned me at a save point. I then went back, found a church thing, picked up a note, got lost for another 20 minutes trying to find things. It's very user unfriendly. It didn't keep the mood. The monster that's chasing you, which is supposed to be Sean Bean's spirit, it's really not scary. It didn't scare me in the slightest, and it was just not fun either. And all the notes you find, you're looking at a massive wall of text, like you would be just reading a book with a bit of walking in between in this game. So I really didn't enjoy myself.
Slender Man.
It wasn't even Slender Man. Oh, it might have been. I didn't even play Slender Man. But, it maybe Snowy Slender Man with Sean Bean.
Essentially, Slender Man is you're in a forest, you walk around, pick up notes. The goal of the game is pick up all the notes, and Slender Man is slow. Like, he'll appear behind you, and he'll eventually, he'll pretty much follow you and kill you.
Okay, so pretty much is the same thing then, except that these notes, I don't know, I mean, the notes that you get are, piecing together this plot. But every single one of them is really, really long. And I'm just like, I read the first one, then I read the second one, and then I read the third. Like, not all of them are the ones you need to get, right? And I got to the third one, and I've read 2 lines, I'm like, I don't care. It's in a very journalistic, like, not really journalistic, more like a log, like it's like explorers logs and stuff. And it's just, I don't care. It's written very dryly and not interesting, and the stuff that you've written about isn't interesting. It reminds me a little bit of Lovecraft's writing, that a lot of his writing is in a logbook style as well, and very dry. The difference is the stuff that Lovecraft is describing is horrific and actually terrifying and interesting. What the stuff they were describing here was not. So, it's why Call of Cthulhu works when Colat just didn't hold my attention.
Well, let's move on to something a bit more interesting, to the actual one that you liked.
Well, yeah, the one I liked, not quite as scary as I'd hoped it would be, but storyline-wise much more interesting. SOMA! Now, SOMA was...
Oh, yes, I remember SOMA now, yes.
Yes, so SOMA is a sci-fi... it's a sci-fi horror game made by the guys who made Amnesia. And not the guys who made A Machine for Pigs, the guys who made Dark Descent, the real Amnesia game, the actually good one. Now, having played SOMA, it was scary for a while. A little while. And then, I don't know whether it's just that I've played so many of these guys' games that I've kind of become inured to their tricks, or that just SOMA itself wasn't as scary as you would expect from the Amnesia devs. It had a much more interesting story, even though I was able to predict parts of it. And I'm not the guy who can normally predict plot twists, but I called this one pretty quickly. That didn't make it any less cool, though. It's sort of sci-fi. There's lots of robots. There's lots of blood. There's lots of brain stuff going on. Location surprised me once I got out of the first buildings, because I don't know. Do you want me to spoil things for you, or?
Yeah, no, go ahead. I've listened to a lot of SOMA stuff already, and I don't plan to go play it. So, go for it.
Well, fair enough. Well, the setting, which looks like you're on a space station or something, you actually turn out to be in a sci-fi future station under the sea. So
under the sea,
yeah,
under the sea.
When I got out of the building and had to wander to the next section, I was like, I'm underwater. I'm in the sea. I got in the sea. This is BioShock. This isn't scary.
First, BioShock was awesome, and it's the atmosphere in BioShock was kind of scary.
Yeah, and BioShock did have moments which scared me, but the thing is, SOMA didn't... When you were outside in the watery bits in SOMA, it wasn't scary at all. When you were inside in the darker bits, it was a bit scarier, but as I said, very quickly it stopped being scary to me. I don't understand why. It might just be there's a monster stalking me, I know what I need to do, etc., etc.
It is becoming the trope of horror games. Ever since Amnesia Descent Darkness, a lot of horror games have followed this, and yeah, I guess it's just getting a bit old, I suppose. Like, that's a worry I have for the Resident Evil 7 at the moment. They've been showing a lot more stuff recently, and there was a part where it showed you pretty much running away from someone, hiding like you would in Amnesia.
Yeah, see, I don't know, because Amnesia did scare the crap out of me, the first one. A Machine for Pigs? Nah, not at all. It had a few moments of tenseness, and then they did a thing where they kind of ruined all the tension. Soma, I was into it much more for the storyline itself, because while it did get a tad predictable in bits and pieces of it, the rest of it wasn't necessarily so, and it deals a lot with what it means to be human versus robots, consciousness, what is consciousness, what are you, etc., etc., etc. And it does have a really, really cool ending in that. Well, as I said, you're not worried about spoilers, so I am gonna spoil stuff. So if you feel like not being spoiled on Soma, skip ahead. I'll put the timestamps in the show notes. Or
No, he won't.
rather Thundermace will, because he's editing tonight.
No, he won't. No, he won't. This is your warning. Just warning.
You're a jerk.
I am.
Anyway, at the start of the game, you are a guy who's had an accident and has brain damage, and you don't have very long to live. So they do an experiment where they scan your brain to try and figure out treatment for you. That doesn't work, but it does become the basis of work for AI in the future. So when you wake up in nightmarish space station-y area, it turns out that you are a robot and your consciousness has been copied from your original version into this robot body. Or partially robot body.
As you're talking just then, I pretty much straight away went, you've woken up as a robot.
Yeah,
straight away. As soon as he said he had this accident where he was nearly dead and they scanned his brain, I went, he's going to end up as a robot.
Told you it's predictable. However, a lot of the questions later on, because there's one point where, well, there's a few like robots and stuff that are sucking power from systems you need to turn on, so you need to take the power plug out of the robot. This kills the robot. So it's like, am I killing a human? Am I killing a human that is just clinging to life out of, sheer desperation? Or am I putting a poor creature out of its misery? Or am I just shutting down a robot? And it tries to raise those questions quite a lot. And one of the and basically what happens is you meet a scientist who's also a consciousness put into a robot. And remembering that, in this case, the robot people have all the memories of the original person up until the point they were scanned, and so they've got all of their prior experiences. They act the same. They feel emotions still. So it's a case. So what happens is with this scientist. In your case, you sat in this chair thing to get your brain scanned, and then woke up in this robot body 1,000 years in the future. Kind of messed up and terrifying. As for this robot scientist lady, I've forgotten her name. Whatever. Anyway, in her case, she scanned herself because she was setting up a thing for the last hope of humanity. Comets have fallen onto Earth, and there's dust clouds everywhere, and bad stuff has happened. So they went under the sea to try and avoid it.
Under the sea.
Yeah, they took the Homer Simpson solution and began to build a new life for themselves under the sea. Now, what they did was they built stations down there, so that what they were going to do is try to find a way to either clean up Earth or find another way to survive. So what they were doing was building a thing called the Ark, because of course you had to use the Ark as this as a name for this. But they were copying people's brains into the Ark, which was a little computer, and then they were going to fire that into space and have, some remnant of humanity still exist. And the people who are on the Ark, consciousness-wise, basically see themselves as, well, they know that they're on the Ark, but they are themselves, and they're in this kind of Eden paradise kind of place.
They're in heaven.
Yeah, pretty much. So you decide that, hey, it didn't get to space, obviously, because why would it have? Things have gone wrong. There's a machine called the WOW. I can't remember what it stands for.
The WOW.
WAU. I cannot remember what it stands for. It's something autonomous unit. Anyway, it's kind of Not really malevolent. It's actually a robot without like emotions or anything, but it is an AI, and it's growing slimy crap all over the place, and it is doing horrible things. And so you need to kind of get away from that and try and. Your plan is to copy yourselves onto the Ark and then fire it into space and save humanity. So there's a point before you get to that where you need to copy yourself into a more heavy-duty robot so you can withstand the water pressure further down where the final bits are. And when you copy yourself across into this robot body, which you assemble, well, it's partly human, partly robot. But when you assemble yourself, you wake up in the other body, but you hear your first body talking before it goes to sleep.
Yeah.
And you guys freaks the hell out. It's like, I thought you were putting me in this body. What happened? Why is he talking? Why is he still alive? And it's like, and the scientist is like, it doesn't work like that. It's not a transfer. It's a copy. There's now two of you. He's like, well, there can't be two of me. He's like, well, there are two of you now. So at that point, well, you don't have to, but you can, and I did. Killed the original one. I kind of turned his life support off so there'd only be one of me. Well, I did that.
There can only be one!
Yeah. Well, I did that because it was in character. I mean, my character was freaking out, and I'm like, I like to roleplay a little bit. The guy was freaking out, and it's what he would have done. Earlier on, he'd also found, the original copy of his brain scan that would put him into it. So that's been erased. I erased that so that it won't happen again. Yeah, can only be one. So at the end, you do reach the section. You do reach the final. The rail gun that puts the Ark into space, and you've gotten the Ark and you've put there. And the thing is, you need someone on the platform to be able to make sure the space gun thing actually fires. So Catherine, that's your AI lady friend. She sets it up so that you get copied at the moment when the weapon fires. So in the ending, it fires off and it seems to work, but your guy freaks out because, like, why am I still sitting in this chair? Why am I not on the Ark? And she's like, you are on the Ark. You got copied across. Remember, that's how it works. You don't move, you get copied. He's like, but why am I the one that's here? Shouldn't he be the one that's here and I'm there? It's like, no, there's two of you now. The version, and there's two of me now as well, because I'm also on there and also here. And the guy freaks out and starts screaming at her, and then the base is having trouble, so it kind of falls apart and all the power turns off. So he's kind of trapped, and so she's gone because she was just in a computer. Meanwhile, he's left alone in this nightmarish hellscape, and all the lights have gone off, and then the credits roll.
So there's a version of him that's happy and escaped, and then there's one version that's sitting there going, "Wait, I made a mistake."
Well, yeah, because it's like, well, he didn't understand how it works. But even then, he saved humanity. The rest of the humans who had their brains scanned are on the Ark. He's just like, but what about me? I'm stuck here. But when the light's gone off, he's just like, Catherine, fuck you, I hate you, blah blah blah. You lied to me. And she's like, I never lied to you at any point. I told you it was a copy. And then when she goes dark, like his last words are like, Catherine, don't leave me. It's really fucking haunting. And then credits roll. You do get your happy-ish ending though. Like after the credits are done, you wake up as the other guy, the one who woke up on the Ark. So you do get to walk around for a few minutes and meet the version of Catherine that's up there. The first time you actually see her with a body. Yeah. So that there is sort of the nice ending, but it's kind of haunting because like, well, the guy who did all the work to get you here, like when you think about it in a physical manner, he's still stuck on Earth and he's doomed to die horribly. So it's kind of really interesting, and it is horrific in a sort of psychological manner. Like it was lighter on actual scary scares for me than like Amnesia was, but the plot kept me hooked and powering through it. I smashed through that game in like 2 evenings. It was really cool. It reminded me a bit of Silent Hill 2 in terms of this isn't really scaring me in terms of I don't want to go any further. There were moments in Silent Hill 2 which were I can't go any further, this is messed up. But the plot was amazing. Yeah?
That's how I felt about Amnesia. I was hiding in the corner with no lantern oil, slowly going insane. I was too scared to move forward. And this was later on, I'll find out, where there were still no enemies in the area. It was just making noises.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I know what you're talking about. I remember at one point in Amnesia, I was looking at one of the monsters. I did look at a monster, and the vision goes wavy, and your guy starts to go crazy. And then he fell to the ground and starts gibbering. The thing is, he'd fallen to the ground. I'd lost control of my character. I couldn't make him look away from the monster because of the way he'd fallen.
Yeah, dead.
Well, no, it didn't die. The monster eventually, because I was in a safe spot. The monster did walk out of viewing range, and he eventually put himself together, and I got to continue. But that was kind of funny.
Oh my god. Yeah, no. Well, I haven't played any horror games this week, but there is one I can highly recommend if no one's bought it or played it, and that's Alien Isolation.
Oh lordy, I keep hearing good things about this one.
That's my favorite horror game that I've played. Like, I've played through Amnesia, and this one, like, when I play through these type of horror games, I get pretty scared and freaked out, and but I managed to get through Alien Isolation just because I do really like Aliens, like the franchise. And if you like Aliens, this is just a love note. You would love it visually. Or like the audio, the visuals, everything is just taken straight from the movie. You feel like you're in the original Alien movie.
Oh, that's terrifying. I mean, you made me watch Alien for the first time last year, and it was great. Great movie.
And it even has like the I guess the 80s future tech where it's like everything is still running on DOS. It's amazing. Brilliant. But yeah. And the alien itself is just a work of art. Of, like, it hunts you down. It uses vents. It uses everything. You can hide, but only for so long. Like, it will find you.
That's brilliant.
It is scary as fuck, that thing. Like, eventually you get a flamethrower that will make it run away, but that's not permanent. It just runs away for a few seconds.
Oh, only a few seconds?
Like, not like, you probably get a good 20, 30 seconds before it will, like, turn around. And your motion tracker makes it worse, because you actually get a motion tracker. You just watch it go, boop. It's like, no, boop, where the fuck is it? You just...
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Okay, once it's on sale, I'm gonna have to grab this.
And that there are other human characters and androids that can also set off that motion tracker, which I believe the alien can also hear the motion tracker, so you gotta be careful with that as well.
Oh no.
But yeah, the one thing I will say is, I guess the game, it does probably go for a little bit too long. Like, there is a point where you just go, yeah, this is a good point for it to end, and then it just keeps going. You're like, okay.
Aww.
So that's probably my only complaint about it. It does go for a little bit too long. Like, it's a great game, but at some point this is just going on for too long.
Yeah, there were a few points in SOMA where it felt it was a bit too long, and I mean, the game was only 6 or so hours. There's just a few places of it felt like they were adding extra puzzles and gamey bits for the sake of it. Like, it's a game, we should make it a game, where it really could have done with just making me walk through the next bit. Or, you know, having the scare bits going on. But you played another horror game the other week, didn't you? You played Rush of Blood.
Yeah, I guess that's a horror game. Yeah, I played Rush of Blood, probably the best VR game on the PSVR at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's just a on-rail shooter. Same as like House of the Dead, but you're literally on a roller coaster. You're actually on rails.
Nice.
And it has like lots of jump scares, like lots of things jump at your face because everything's in 3D. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, we did. I think we did talk about this a little bit before, but yeah, the second level on that was ridiculously gruesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the second level is just a must play if you're gonna play that game at all. It's just so gruesome and like that was messing me up. I was like, what the fuck's going on? This is freaky as fuck going through that level.
Yeah, lots of pigs' heads with saws and stuff, and
they all come to life squealing and. Like,
yeah, it's horrific, which is kind of weird though, because I mean, you know how scared you get at stuff. I mean, you saw me playing that in VR. You were watching me. I'm just like, yeah, this is messed up, but I
Yeah,
was
well, that,
relatively unflappable through that. I'm like, oh, this is really messed up and horrific, but why am I not actually scared? I was more scared by the end of the first level when the guy suddenly shoved a gas under my face.
yeah.
But yeah, but I'm just like, I don't know why that one didn't like scare me as much. I suspect it might have just been a case of, yeah, I've seen the pig head stuff before because there was a bit of that in the original Until Dawn. So, and then the Ghost Girls showed up, and I'm just like, yeah, hi girls, how you doing?
Yeah, and that's another thing with VR. The jump scares can actually come from the side as well. So like you can hear something from the side, and then you turn around, and then yeah, it fucking gets you.
Yeah, but I found that they didn't really get me, so I don't know.
It got me in the intro. There's this little intro just before you actually play the game, and there is one particular thing that usually gets me.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I did find that in that level there was that section when you were going like straight down for ages on the rails, like vertically down. That made me feel slightly ill because you're just going straight downwards in VR. I'm like, ah. But
Yeah, but yeah,
that was more of an ill slash fear of heights thing than it was a jump scare. Though it did make me scared because yeah, heights are not great for me.
I'd rather do it in VR than in real life.
Well, yeah.
I don't do coasters at all.
I do want to do some coasters and stuff because, live a
You
little.
don't want to by
But
yourself then.
I'll probably jump on them with Shay.
Me and Gravity don't work together.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, unless we have any other older horror games we want to talk about, then I think we're probably about ready to wrap up.
Sounds good to me. I can't think of any horror games at the moment that I can really recommend.
Well, I mean, I will always and forever recommend Silent Hill 2. As I said, on a psychological level, and a storyline level, that's great. And it even has random moments of humor. Like if you look at the silly endings that game has, I mean
Yeah,
that's
but
more about an evil town and really messed up stuff happening. So
it'd be really hard to get an original copy of that though, wouldn't it? Because the only copies you can get now is the butchered Konami version.
the butchered HD re-release, but at the same time,
Yeah.
there's also the butchered HD re-release is better than nothing. But yeah, I mean, if you can track down a copy of the original one on PS2, like off eBay or something, then go ahead and please do. So that's a lot of fun. I was gonna say, surely they'll do a HD re-release. We literally just talked about how they messed that up. Yeah, not great. But other ones, I don't know. I was meaning to play Dead Space 2 this month as well, but I never got around to it. So that could be a thing. I mean, Dead Space 1 was a lot of jump scares and a lot of gore, but it was also a lot of fun. So
Dead Space 1 and 2 I liked, and then seeing what happened to 3, I kind of stayed away.
yeah, actually, that reminds me. Another one that was quite good was the original Fear, the first-person shooter.
Oh yeah, I really love Fear. Fear was really good. That's another one you should pick up. And that's another one where those are the scares that you get from naturally looking around. Like
Yeah,
these games that try to scare you by putting you in a cutscene for me don't work. It's like it's a movie now. I'm not scared. But the ones where they take the chance by making like these jump scares where you could possibly look at, those are the ones that I really like.
yeah.
And they do that so much in Fear.
So that's why I feel that Silent Hill worked, because Silent Hill, while it was always, a lot of the time, it was cutscenes where the horrific stuff was happening, but it was always, more messing with your head stuff rather than monster eating your face off. But yeah, in Fear, if you look at Fear, first-person shooter, so it does give you that feeling of power and that you have guns and stuff and you have a slow-mo ability, but a lot of the time you just have this sort of feeling that it's not going to help you. You do have sections where you can't shoot anything and there's this horrific gore everywhere and the ghost girl and stuff, and you really do get the sense that you are dealing with something that is beyond mortality and beyond something that you can actually deal with your physical guns. It's really cool.
And then they jumped the shark in the third one where it's like, here's co-op and you get to play with supernatural powers and stuff, which were fun, but it's just not scary anymore.
That game was much more fun for whoever was player 2.
Definitely, yeah.
Because I remember we were co-oping that and I was player 2 from us. I'm like, I'm having a blast, and you're like, this is boring. because player one is forced to be playing generic guy from the first two Fear games. So you've got your slow-mo powers, but that's about it, and you're just playing first-person shooter with slow-mo powers. If you're playing player two, you've got all this crazy psychic stuff, and you can possess people and just blow stuff up, and it's so much more fun. So maybe set up a network of that game with yourself and be player two. Or something like that. But yeah, that game was fun, but only if you're playing as the spirit guy. So
alright. Well, I'm getting a bit tired, and I think we've really done everything we could today.
yeah, no, there was a lot of rage in today's episode, but
The anger is real.
Well, there was no good news. Everything was upsetting. It's messed up. But we've got PAX this weekend, and next week, well, as a result of PAX, that is running from Friday till Sunday. We will both be in Melbourne Thursday till Monday for this, so we'll try our best to get the next podcast episode out on time, but I cannot guarantee that due to travel.
It's okay, no one listens to us anyway.
Aww. But yeah, so anyway, if you are at PAX, come and say hi. I will be cosplaying as Snake from Metal Gear Solid 5.
And I'll be cosplaying as Fat Guy.
He's cosplaying himself. So that's the thing. We will be there all weekend. If you want to meet up or something, link up with us on Twitter or something. So that's the thing. Our Twitter is Inconsoleables, INCONSOLEABLES. And under that, you can find our YouTube channel, our SoundCloud, our iTunes, all of that fun stuff. So, we are the Inconsolables. Happy Halloween, and boo!
Oh, I'm not scared. Fare thee well.
Bye.
Bye.